This is part 2 of the lecture that addresses essential question number 7. We are discussing how government is organized differently in unitary, federal, and confederal systems. So we've discussed unitary systems where all government is held by one central government. All power is held by one central government. And we've talked about confederal systems where the central government is very weak and only has the powers given to it by the regional governments, which are actually states. So the big governments still retain their sovereignty. The last type of government in this category is called a federal government, a federal system. And this was actually created by the United States. This form was created by the U.S. So it's a fairly new form. In fact, most governments throughout the world have been unitary governments. Very few have been confederal governments. And there are several federal governments, but not near as many as there are unitary. But just take notice, the United States is a federal form of government. In a federal form, power is constitutionally divided between one national and several regional governments. So when the United States was first formed, we had one national government and 13 regional governments. Today, we have one national government and 50 regional governments. And here's the picture of that. Basically, you have a central government that has its own jobs that it's responsible for. And then you have regional governments, which also have a lot of power in their own areas, in what they're responsible for. But the source of power, what actually gives them their power, what determines who does what, is the Constitution. So the control that they have is determined by a Constitution, which is ratified at both levels. Ratified at both levels. And if that power balance is to be changed, the Constitution has to be changed. So, in the unitary system, the central government decides who does what, and they can change it whenever they want. In the confederal system, the several states decide what the central government can do, and they can change that whenever they want. In a federal government, the Constitution decides what each type of government can do, and the only way that can be changed is to change the Constitution, and both levels have to agree to change the Constitution. And there you have it. Unitary, federal, and confederal systems of government.